How's it going, guys? In this video we're checking out how to play Glory Days by the boss, Bruce Springsteen. This is an easy 3-chord song. In this video I'm going to be showing you just the basic open chords and a basic strumming version to be able to play the entire song. No capo needed or anything. And then tomorrow, if you're watching this on the day of release, I'm going to be showing you a separate video of how to play the electric guitar riff and a couple of cool licks. If you're watching this at any time in the future, that will be up now, so do a search for it. And we've got some close-ups on this one as well. Let me show you these chords. So this song is in the key of A, so it starts with an A major chord. This A major can of course be just played with 3 fingers in a line like this, all at the 2nd fret. But I highly encourage, and especially for anyone doing my beginner's course, this song would be at level 2 of my beginner's course, and this is how we learn the A at the moment. So we can change to the next chord, which is a D, played like this. Now with the A major chord, whichever way you're playing it, it's really important to only strum from string 5, and we count those from the thinnest to the thickest. So this is string 5, and that's the A note, and that's our A major chord. For the D chord, it's really important that we only strum from that D note, which is string 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they are the chords for the verse and all of the chorus. The only other chord in this entire song is an E major chord, played like this, and we strum all 6 strings. If you need help with any of those specific chords, click this video here and it will show you in depth with some great close-ups and explain everything about those chords. So the introduction, verse and chorus of this song is just 1 bar of the A chord and then 1 bar of the D chord. If we were to strum that on the beat, which is the main pulse that holds the song together, that would sound something like this. Glory days, they'll pass you by, glory days, in the wink of a young girl's eye, glory days. So that's the general gist of the song, and let's just make sure we can all get to that level before we make it any more complex. So for the introduction, we're just going to start off by strumming 1, 2, 3, 4, and then change to D, 1, 2, 3, 4. We really need to do that without a pause before we do anything cleverer with the strumming side of things. And ideally you want to be playing it just on the beat like this, but along to me in this video, or along to the record, you know, just playing along to the Bruce Springsteen song on YouTube or Spotify, just jam along with them, just holding the beat. It's so important. It will bring on your playing no end, especially if you've never done that at this point in time. So we're just going to have a jam through the intro and the verse playing together. 2, 3, change into the D, and just repeating this nice and steady before we introduce the E chord also. Okay, let's go for this together in 1, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, and to D, change to that D, and D, 2, 3, and repeat back to A, 2, 3, 4. Keep that going. I had a friend, was a big baseball player. Keep it going back to A, back in high school. D, 2, 3, 4. He could throw that speedball by you. Keep it going back to A, make you look like a football. And that's the entirety of the verse. The chorus is super similar, so let's get straight onto that. It's the exact same mechanics, and let me show you it. We start off on the A. We're going to do exactly the same thing again. Play along to me in 1, 2, 3. Glory days, 2, 3. Change to D. Pass you by, glory days, 2, 3. In the wink of a young girl's eye, glory days. For that last bar, we're just gonna go to the E major, and that is like this. And if we play the A chord like this, we can change to it by keeping that first finger down and sliding to that first fret, which is the the method that we use in my beginner's course at level 1 and level 2. If you're playing an A chord like this and you find that more comfortable, that's totally fine. You can just make that change a little harder. And if I just cover those last 2 bars, so the very last words of the chorus, glory days, 2, 3, glory days. And we would just go back to a verse which was the A to the D chord just repeated. The only thing that really changes from that substantially at all is what we call the bridge in Europe and kind of this part of the world. And then in America, you guys tend to call it a pre-chorus. They both mean exactly the same thing. They're both the in-between between a verse and a chorus. So the verse is the story part of the song that starts the song. The chorus is the recognizable bit that you sing along to, glory days. That's the chorus of this song, but we have like a introduction to that, or a build-up, which is our bridge or our pre-chorus, and that starts on an E major. And this time, we're on each chord for 2 bars, and on the E chord, that would sound like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Then change into the D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to that E, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then to the D one more time. And that, of course, that change between the E major to the D major is the toughest change at this point in time. But that's why at my beginner's course, at level 2, we only work on songs with the chords E, A, and D. And we have about 20 songs now that you have a choice of, so you can get really solid with those changes and work out kind of how songs work. You know, these idea of a chorus and a bridge, and get some song structure under your belt before we make the hands do anything more too complex. So this bridge or pre-chorus one more time starts on the E for 2 bars. Let's give it a go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Saw him the other night, this roadside bar to D. He was walking in, he was walking out. Back to E. We went back inside, had a few drinks. Then to D, D, 2, 3. Finally, the E chord for 1 bar. So that D was for 1 bar. E, 2, 3, 4. And then you can really feel this build-up that's going for the A. And that was those last 2 bars. But all he kept talking about was glory days. And then this release that comes to the chorus. Glory days. In the wink of a young girl's eye. That's the real function of this bridge or pre-chorus. It's a build-up, and then there's that release and that good feeling in the chorus. So let's just do the bridge into the whole chorus one more time. And let's have a go at this song from the E chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. E, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. To the D. I was walking in, he was walking out. Back to the E. We sat back inside, sat down, had a few drinks. D. All he kept E about. And into the chorus. From the A chord, 2, 3, glory days. Well, they'll pass you by, glory days. In the wink of a young girl's eye, glory days. And then finally that E chord, glory days. Dun, 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 dun. Cool, so if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, you can look at the other video that accompanies this lesson where we'll look at more at the riff, using a bit of those sorts of techniques. The only thing that I will bring your attention to is after the second chorus. Remember that riff is taught in a separate video, but after the second chorus we have this little breakdown section which goes like this. It's very similar to the bridge, but it's dun, 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 D, 2, 3, 4, dun, dun. 1, 2, 3. We have have that little 1, 2, 3 strum in the E chord, and then after that, it's another verse, but it's very much quieter. And what we can do for that section, before we do anything more tricky, is just strum this A chord, but only strum the thicker 3 or 2 strings of it. But we're going to use the strumming pattern at this level is 8th strumming, 8th down strumming. That's the strumming that we use at level 2 of my beginner's course. And that strumming would be like this, but we're going to narrow it slightly to be in keeping with the song. Okay, and this is over the "My old man worked 20 years on the line, and then they let him go." Okay, and for that, it's a little bit tougher on the changes. You've got to have your rhythm down. That's why I really recommend you play along to the record, I can't advise enough, play along to the record, just strumming on the beat before you do anything more complicated, especially if you've not done that yet at this stage in your guitar development. But what we're then going to go for is this count, or this rhythm, of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, then D and 2 and 3 and 4, and my old man worked 20 years on the line, and they let him go. And if you're feeling really confident, you could keep that strumming going throughout this entire song, but you would strum more strings, so including the thinner strings, for the rest of the song, and it would be that breakdown that would be a little quieter. So for example, well, they'll pass you by glory days, in the wink of a young girl's eye, glory days, glory days. Okay, so you could use that strumming and replace that playing on the beat, and then at level 3, so the next level of this course, we'll be using a down and up strumming pattern, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, where it's the same rhythm, it's just a little bit more economical for when we have some faster songs. So that would sound like glory days, well, they'll pass you by, glory days, in the wind of a young girl's eye, glory days, glory days. So you have those different strumming options to keep things a little bit more interesting for you. But that's the end of this video, so you can check out the other video where we're going to be learning the riff, or any other songs at level 2 or even level 3 of my beginner's course. I really hope you're digging this so far. Thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe if you like what I do, and I'll see you in another video of mine.